Check. 1, 2.
Breaking news from the New York Times tonight. It is reporting that both the Justice Department and the FBI are investigating the now-defunct political data firm Cambridge Analytica.
Russia, the United States, and many points in between have been hit by what's now a common form of cybercrime.
4 members of China's military over a cyber attack on credit rating giant Equifax.
Yes or no, does Facebook use audio obtained from mobile devices to enrich personal information about its users?
No. Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode of Sunday Stories with me, your host, Fahrim Shirinzade. When we cover ongoing headlines, I meet interesting fucking guests. To help me with the topic cybersecurity, I have my co-host, Fredrik Blex.
Hello there.
An associate professor and advisor in information security. His aim is to help Sweden and Europe and the world to become more sustainable and secure in their digital area.
That is correct. And
That is a poem.
I'm associated with Stockholm University here in Stockholm and Cybercom, which is a Swedish IT development company.
Right. Cool. How long have you been working in this area?
I'm afraid to count the number of years, but
Right.
It's about a quarter of a century.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You look
Every
young, by
day-
the way.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I would like the women to say
Right.
that.
But maybe they will. So we have a special segment in this podcast, Would You Rather?
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with the game?
No, but I think I can catch up pretty quickly.
Yeah, right. So you will get a question and with 2 different answers, and then you just choose one. Okay? Great. Let's just start the show. Would you rather be able to freeze time or travel in time?
Travel in time,
Why would you do that?
because I want to see the future.
Ooh, where would you travel?
I would travel around 10 years down the line to see where we are in AR, augmented reality, and virtual reality, because I think it's going to change. Try to understand that and try to see how we should, think about cybersecurity in relation to that and start working towards that already today.
Right, and then you will bring back some billion-dollar idea to the past
Yeah.
and get super rich. The movie called the Hot Tub Time Machine, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Cool. Moving on to the next question. Would you rather have your dream job or find your true love? Maybe you...
I have both already. I would give up any job for my true love.
Right, because your wife may be listening.
That special one, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Moving to the next question. Would you rather share your house with a family of rats or live with your parents forever?
I will live with my parents forever.
Right, fuck rats.
Yeah.
True. Okay, we have only 2 more questions before we dive into the subject.
I guess it's going to be difficult now, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be... I think the last question is gonna be really weird. So get prepared for that. Would you rather know all the secrets of space or know all the secrets of the ocean?
Space.
Space. Are you interested in space?
I am very interested. I've never been, but it would be nice to go.
It would.
Yeah.
What is it called? Richard Branson's space company.
Oh, Galactica. Yeah.
Right, and then you have SpaceX.
Mm-hmm.
Are they? Those are the 2 ones, right? Working on the.
Yeah, or you could go maybe and get a private ticket. Yeah.
Right. How much? Do you know how much it will cost?
No,
No. But
probably around $100,000 to get into zero gravity, but that would not be
Shit.
so.
No,
nice.
no,
And,
no.
you want to go further out, right?
Of course, and risk your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Coming down to the last question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have to fart loudly every time you have a serious conversation, or have to burp every time you kiss? It's
I
a
would
weird
fart.
one. You will fart. All right, man. Thank you for still being here after all of these terrorizing questions.
I'm getting a little bit afraid now. What's going to come next?
That's perfect. Okay, let's dive into this serious question, cybersecurity. How would your kids describe your profession?
My kids are 2 very intellectual beings, and they would probably give a long definition about cybersecurity and so on. But basically, well, the way I think about myself is a little bit like a priest. Because I'm preaching, right?
That is true.
Every day I'm preaching. I'm teaching hundreds of students every year. I am working, talking to clients and to understand their situation and trying to say, give them good advice on how to deal with cyber threats and so on. So it's a lot of, my father is a priest. grandfather was a priest, and
wow.
his father was a priest, and his father was a priest, and so on for many, many generations. And I think the reason why I am not a priest, and I mean preaching in this area instead, is that this area is turning into something really important in society.
Yeah.
And it is sort of that kind of roles that the priests upheld a long time ago
Wow.
in society. Now, when we're moving into the digital era with virtual reality and augmented reality and everything, you would have to think about someone has to uphold law and order
True.
and good ethics and you know, even the natural laws, you know, in a virtual reality society, you know, they have to be controlled by someone, and I would be that one.
That is a very good presentation of yourself. But was your dad kind of mad that you didn't become a priest?
He has never asked me. He's probably listening to this now. He's never asked me about that, and I'm kind of surprised because I would think, you know, I would have told my oldest son, if it's been like that for a long time, that, you know, son, you know, this has been going on for a long time, and your grandfather and his father and so on.
True.
But he never said anything. I think maybe he's quietly waiting. Maybe he realizes that actually cybersecurity is going to turn into the new theology anyway.
So, okay, how would you describe cybersecurity?
So it starts with basically computers. So we use computers today, you know, just as a laptop, but larger ones. We use them to help us to produce services in society, critical societal services like paying taxes or getting your pension funds or paying money from one place to another and so on. So we use computer for almost everything, for local transportation, for controlling the trains, for getting clean water in your in the bathroom in the morning. So we use that for the water cleaning and for the water distributions. We use computer for everything, right? So my job is basically to make sure that these computers and the services that are rendered by these computers, that they are actually safe from errors that people, you know, mistakes that people make, but also from cyber attacks, from attacks from the outside, people trying to shut down these services for society. So and what I mean with safe is to keep information in these computers when needed secret. We call it confidentiality, and to keep information correct so that no one logs in there and in an unauthorized way and sort of alters the information. We call that integrity. And also one very important aspect of cybersecurity is availability, to make sure that these services and the computers are available at all times when they are needed for those people who should be authorized to use them. So it's basically, cybersecurity is about the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability of services like payment service or local transportation and so on. And of course the computers and the information connected to these services.
It feels like the entire society is hanging on you guys.
It is, and that's why there are 4.2 million open jobs that cannot be fulfilled in this area. Million around the world globally. So there are like 4 million open job positions for cybersecurity experts that cannot be filled. That's why we have to start all this master's program to develop, you know, knowledge and experience in this area, and to get new people who think in new ways into the field.
I mean, to work with cybersecurity, you have to be a programmer? Is it, or a mathematician, maybe?
I have a secret to admit.
Right.
I think I may be the only one who have a PhD in computer science who have not studied programming.
What?
I managed to skip that course. Yeah. I mean, I do know. I mean, I can read other people's code, you know.
Yeah, you understand it, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I can't write anything meaningful myself.
Right.
So.
But you're good with math. Probably that's like the core to
Yeah, but you know what? Logic and systematic approaches only gets you so far in security. What you need to combine that with creativity, because the attackers, they don't work from logic and systematic approaches. They work from creativity, you know, trying to find the vulnerability that is not expected. They're trying to combine different ideas to how to get in. So we have to work with both logic and creativity to create any meaningful protection.
But how do you become like creative in do you have to think like how criminals think that?
First of all, I think you have to be a criminal. No,
right.
No, I think, but so this is, you know thy enemy, right?
Yeah.
So basically, you have to have a creative, open mind. Like when you go into an elevator and press that button, you are the kind of person who thinks about how does this work. You know, is there now how does it when you click on number 7 to go up to this floor? How does the whole thing work? You have to be curious about how systems work. So you see systems all around you when you walk into a room, or you see systems between people, you see communication systems,
Sure.
you see all the technical systems that are in play in a room, the ventilation here, the lighting system, and how that is controlled and so on. And you have to think all the time about what can go wrong with the systems and how you could find vulnerabilities and how to secure them. Yeah. So I think curiosity and creativity, that's, if you have that, then you can be very successful in this business.
But do you get like frustrated, like, why don't they fix this?
You can get a little bit tired, but so when I started about a quarter century ago in this field, I thought that, wow, there's a window of opportunity here, like all these vulnerabilities in these IT systems, and I'll be able to sort of like find them and sort them out, and it will only be a few years now when we have this opportunity to sort of make money and create business around this, because then everything will be secure. But that was wrong, right?
And how long was this ago?
About 22 years or something, 23 years. So now, basically, we have all these new systems, right? Wireless networks that was not around there, and much more, digitalization of society. So these vulnerabilities, they keep on growing all the time, so that it's unlimited work, that we can do.
Wow. So you have to come up with like new solutions for each product, right? You can't basically do one solution and then say, okay, we're selling this. Okay, who wants to implement it?
Well, yeah, of course. So as new risks arise and new attack methods arise, we have to come up with new ways for protection, right? But also there is one problem we have in this business, is that we who are have been in the business for a long time, we have our own minds a little bit about how things should be done. And it's a little bit top down in large organizations, like how we try to manage cybersecurity. And now, so when I created this master's program at Stockholm University, I really fought for that we have an open application process, so that people from any area who have a bachelor degree, for any area, they can be an actor, they can be a political scientist, they can apply to the master's program and get in. So we have like 800 applicants for 70 places.
Shit.
So this means that we have like really good people coming in, but with different ideas. So all these different ideas, brought together on this problem, that really creates something new.
Definitely.
That's how you create a good protection, right?
Right.
So I'm one of the old guys now. I'm trying to get the young people in to think in new ways on how to secure society in the future.
So what is the big challenge in that case to bring young people into this profession? I mean, there's 4 million, you said, jobs, right? Isn't that enough to bring people in, or?
Well, there are many people who want to start working in this area, but of course, you need to have some knowledge about the technical issues that organizations are facing. You need to understand the basics of IT infrastructure in companies. And now we have this whole shift to serverless, and like when you don't even have a server, but you have a lot more cloud services who are completely different to audit, completely different to set up and evaluate the security and to make sure that the security is good. So we are working now with new methods and tools to have good security, of course, in this kind of environments as well. And it's the challenge is you need to get in people who are willing to learn their whole life.
Yeah.
Because it never stops, right?
Right. But how many attacks are there in the world?
Well, I could not say, but let me tell you this. So the number of state-sponsored cyber attacks / cyber activities against Swedish IT infrastructure is around 100,000 per month, according to the Swedish agencies.
Sweden is a small country.
Yeah. So basically, what happens right now is that cybersecurity is moving into the sort of conflict zone, conflicts between countries. So like we would expect, and we can see in Sweden, that other nation states are making a map of our sort of network topology and trying to find out which different computers, so to say, or which different infrastructural components are used to provide which services in Sweden. And the reason why they do that is that they want to be able to create a simulated model of parts of Swedish infrastructure so that they can prepare for attacks against us, right? So this happens also as Sweden is building, we're building our offensive cyber warfare capabilities, so to say, or cyber defense capabilities. And when we do that, we also have to, of course, try to, train our cyber soldiers on how to attack other countries. So it's an interesting development because it's a whole new market, of course, for us.
Definitely.
It's a lot of ethical questions to sort out, but I mean, I would prefer to be actually cyber attacked than to be to have a bomb on my head drop. But
True,
anyway,
true.
These are serious attacks that,
Yeah.
that take place now in every conflict now today. It's a hybrid conflict where
Wow.
information and disinformation is a large part, but also attacks against infrastructure.
Yeah, definitely. We can just relate to the latest news. Maybe you can add some information to it. This IT attack on AdTech that was it was
The ransomware attack, right? Was a ransomware.
yeah, I'm not quite like familiar with the entire information about it, but what I read that it was just one attack cost them 150 million Swedish crowns. You know,
So basically, what happened is that hackers attacked the company.
uh-huh.
They took some information at ransom. Basically, they encrypted some information and they demanded a ransom. You know, that they had to pay this money to get it
now I
out.
get
That's
it.
how I
Yeah,
understand
right.
it. Yeah.
Right, and of course it's Bitcoins, right?
Yeah, so it's
Right.
hopefully untraceable then for the people who receive it. Yeah,
Shit.
but they didn't pay.
They didn't pay?
No, that's how I understand it.
Okay, so they got out of it.
I don't know how they got out of it because
Did
you
they
know,
maybe
these
contact
attacks.
you guys?
Yeah, no. To my knowledge, we were not involved in that.
Right,
and
right.
if we were, I would not tell you anyway.
Right.
So I think the problem with this is that usually these ransomware attacks, they go for your backups as well. They try to, they don't
of
demand the money
course,
before they know that they got the
course.
backups, right? So they encrypt the backups first and then the main data, and then they ask for the money. So
Huh.
it's difficult to get out of it.
But how much of that is actually true, right? Every day I get like a spam email, you know, that says, "Hi, I hijacked your account. I was recording you jerking off. Just send me some Bitcoin and I will, you know, not do it." How much of this is actually, you know, true? Like, of course, this maybe the scenario was true, right? But you could pretty much scare a company of just sending an email or you know.
Yeah, you can do. But what we do see is we see many smart attempts to get money out of payment processes in clients. Like
Right.
they basically, the attackers would try to eavesdrop on email communications so that they can actually, you know, get the right signatures and the right way of writing to each other. They find out who owns who money, and then they will write you and say, "Look, we're gonna pay your invoice, or please pay whatever you owe us to this new account number. Please confirm that," or something like this, right? So you will try to steer the payment flows to some other sort of system or place, and this happens quite often, actually.
And this is successful? I mean, like,
Yes,
they get
sometimes
away with it.
sometimes it is successful, and because they are very well crafted now, these emails, and so the problem there is that if you think about it, in organizations today, in businesses, many processes, internal processes, and so on, they rely on email.
Yeah, they do.
You know, so sometimes we try for clients, we register a sort of similar domain name, and we would basically write an email and pretend to be an internal boss and say, this guy should get a bonus, please pay it out, and so on. They will go like, "Oh, please send me the documents," and you send them some documents saying that the bonus is for this and this, and this is the personal number, and then boom, you get the
That's
money.
it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you have internal processes that rely on email, think about this. There is no checking that the email is actually from that sender, In the ordinary email protocols, like, you can spoof to be any sender, right? Yeah.
Because like most companies, they rely on Microsoft products or Google products, right?
Yeah.
So we basically in their hands of the security. So
And they do have some really good security features built in, these
Right.
big companies. Yes.
but apparently it's not enough.
No.
So
It's not-
but that's the thing with it, right? It doesn't matter how much you guys will work. The criminals will work harder.
And isn't that great? That keeps
It
us
is.
busy.
It is. And you said something with cyber soldiers, right?
Yeah.
That could be a good title for Cybercom employees, right?
Yeah.
My
if
fellow
you-
cyber
Yeah.
soldiers.
This company has been called Cybercom, I think, since 1995 or something, even before the U.S. Cyber Command was
Whoa,
created.
whoa.
So it's interesting now. If you have any American listeners, this is not Cyber Command from the Americans. This is the Swedish Cyber Command. Yeah.
Right, right. I'm not so educated in this topic. That's why you are the co-host in this episode. So what is a firewall? basic question, maybe.
Yeah. So
For
a
a professor.
firewall, it's so a lot of internet security and a lot of cybersecurity actually depends on us being able to read network traffic. So basically, all information between computers, they travel in packets, little snippets of information that come over the cables or in your wireless network, right? TCP/IP packets, they're called, right? And firewalls, they can be used on different levels, but basically it is a system that can be used to filter packets. So it has a rule system. So basically it will just be a text file in this computer, which is a firewall. So basically think about it as a box with one line going in and one line going out, and inside there is a set of rules which says which traffic can pass. And so and the traffic is basically it. So the internet is made up of on IP addresses. So when you use your smartphone, it will have an IP address.
Right.
So it's an address, and then this IP address has 65,000 something ports. So you have the IP address and then the port number. So and then you have two computers communicating. So you will have IP address, port number on both of these, right? So this computer in the middle, the firewall, will basically decide which port numbers can you talk to if you are this IP number, and to whom can you talk? Which IP numbers can you talk to, right? So basically that's the main sort of technology behind firewalls, right? And then of course you can use it today. You can't sell a firewall which doesn't have some kind of machine learning, artificial intelligence. So basically the firewall today will learn about normal traffic patterns. And then when something happens, someone goes up in the middle of the night and they start to talk to a computer that is unexpected.
Yeah.
Maybe then it will like make an alarm, and say that, oh, this
But
is
how
strange.
does it know that?
Machine learning. So it sees,
right.
it sees like, it basically records the typical traffic patterns over some time, maybe a few days or a few weeks. And then when something happens outside of that expected boundaries, so to say, then it may fire an alarm to say, this is something strange going on.
So firewalls get better and better for each time you use it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So they must really suck like 10 years ago or something. Or
like when I started in this business, like there was not even a firewall included if you have a Windows computer or anything. You had to buy a firewall and install it, right?
True, yeah.
So everything was open. Yeah.
I have to ask you, is it a rumor that Mac computers can't get, attacks or not attacks, but
It is
viruses?
sort of. It's true that most viruses are written for a Windows platform. If you think about like private users, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So it's slightly better off in that sense.
So what would you say is the biggest challenge for companies today coming to cybersecurity? Like the ultimate biggest challenge?
The problem with cybersecurity is money, right? It's about economics of cybersecurity. So it's finding out what you should do to reduce your cost for cyber attacks and for mistakes, as much as possible without increasing the cost for cybersecurity efforts and for improductivity that you create and so on. So it's basically like an economic question in a way. I think that's the real thing. Like you have only a certain amount of money. You want to make some good security out of that, and then we try to find methods to help the clients to understand what they should do. With their limited resources. So and it's also like to understand some. We also have in this industry some I call them security muppets, muppets who don't understand that security is only one thing, right?
Right.
There are other things that are important in society: sustainability, equality, making money from this new emerging market, and so on. I mean, there are so many things that business leaders have to think about. Security is only one, and we are not the objective. We are just a restriction on the way.
Yeah.
So organizations, they want to make money, they want to make a profit, and they want to contribute to society in a good way, and security is one way of doing that, right? But we're not the objective. We're something that you have to do, to get there. So we have to teach the security muppets of this industry that 100% security is not the objective, right?
Right.
We should not be 100% secure.
Right.
No, we allow certain insecurity in our systems and our services because that's economic and that's the way to move society forward.
Right. But do you think that the society should pay and provide some kind of fundamental security for for example, Swedish companies, and each government should have their own, protection package that we give to our companies?
I think that is a really good question. It's like it's almost like asking like, is healthcare something we should pay together? Is
Right.
the school something we should pay
Yeah.
together? I think the answer to this is yes. I never thought about it in that way, but I think that society, especially a digitalized society like we are, and moving into augmented reality and virtual reality and so on even more, I think that society will need to pay for a common sort of level of cybersecurity, so that that actually the society can work, that we can have democracy,
Yeah.
that we can have deliver critical societal services to the citizens. So I think that's a good idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
something for you guys at Cybercom.
Mhm.
You can just pretty much make billions of dollars of that.
Yep. And we do.
You
Trust
do.
me.
Okay, so speaking of companies and attacks, what is your take on like big corporations such as Facebook and the big leak that was with Cambridge Analytica and the headlines of TikTok?
This is a question about data protection and privacy.
Yeah.
It's about the human right to have some kind of private life.
Yeah.
And actually, interestingly, people are more concerned about their family and their friends to find out about what they do than they are about Facebook, right? I mean, people are willing to send their DNA to an
That's
American
true,
company
yeah.
that they don't know anything about to find out if they come from Iceland or from Sweden. You know, people are willing to have a speaker that listens to everything they say in their home and send it
Yeah.
off to, Google or whatever, right?
That's true.
So people are a little bit naive in this sense, but I think so. In terms of regulation of these large companies, so there is a regulation already, and it's the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, and the idea was that was going to stop all these bad business practices, this gray area, this sort of semi-legal ways of making money out of people's information. And it didn't stop, it has stopped some things, but it has not really explained to citizens in Europe that their data is actually, the goods that is sold and so on. So people still don't get it, right? So I think illegally we are doing already what more or less can be done. It's a very ambitious regulation in Europe.
It feels like a paycheck for the lawyers. I mean,
yeah,
that was
yeah.
the biggest Christmas present for them when they released this.
Yeah, you're right. We have hundreds of people in the legal business in Sweden just being occupied with GDPR.
Wow.
And still, some of them still have to understand that this is actually a cybersecurity question in a way.
It is.
Because it comes down to how do you protect this information, right?
Sure.
But
how should we punish the companies? I mean, obviously, punishing them with a sanction or big fine they have to pay billions of dollars, it doesn't affect them because they're so huge, right?
I think what will happen eventually is I think we will have a big debate about this in the coming years again. We used to have a big debate in Sweden about privacy.
Mm-hmm.
In the 70s, we had a debate even about social security numbers in Sweden. That
70s? Wow.
that maybe companies could use this to sort of match the databases, or even that government agencies could use it to match databases. So it was we were very sensitive to privacy issues. And today it's not even a question. Of course, the government agencies will match their databases, right?
Right.
But now I think we will have a debate again. And I think that debate is going to be, it's going to be tough for these companies who's been treating people's data as their own.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people will lose trust in some of these companies, and they will cease to exist.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. I would not be surprised if Facebook does not exist in 5 years from now.
Really?
I will not be surprised.
Wow, I have to sell stocks.
Yeah.
Wow, that's. Do you think if Facebook goes under, we have so much services going on there. How are we gonna communicate? I mean, what's up, Messenger?
I don't know. I mean, I don't have Facebook, and
You
so
don't?
No.
Okay. Are you just on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't you think LinkedIn sells your information?
It's basically, it's a service that you can pay for if you want to, and it's owned by Microsoft, and I do trust them actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Microsoft gives that vibe of we are for the business.
They used to be the big dangerous monolith. They used to be the big giant that everyone hated. Microsoft does this and that. Then all these new players came around. Google, Facebook.
They fucked it up.
Yeah, and then now everyone sees Microsoft as the old, secure alternative, so to say.
So how is I think IBM was pretty huge at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Are they as huge as they were with, I mean,
They're
compared to Microsoft?
You know,
now?
they are
Like-
still a really big company on the business side, but they have moved out from consumer market, so that's why we
right.
don't see them so much.
Do they have like cybersecurity as?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do.
They do,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
They have
Cool.
consulting. They have a lot of products around that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Another word that I'm not quite familiar with is black hat hackers.
Mm.
What the hell is a black hat hacker?
Basically, look at me. I have a white hat on. If you see it,
Yeah,
right?
no,
it's a big cowboy hat, and it takes up most of this
Oh
room.
yeah, he's totally right.
Yeah. So this hat basically shows that I'm working, with the honest guys. Like we're trying to
Alright.
protect systems and networks, and we do it, within the legal framework, right?
Yeah.
And so the black hat hackers, those are the ones who actually they do things for fun or for profit, but not within the legal, framework, right? They don't have an assignment to hack that system,
Right.
but they still do it. So they are black hat in that they are dishonest, right?
Oh shit.
So that's what I would basically how I would define it.
How do you think that cybersecurity is gonna affect freedom of speech in the future?
If you think about it, when you have a society that is dependent so much on digital technology, cybersecurity is the only thing that keeps that society from chaos.
Yeah.
Because if we did not have security, then everyone could manipulate the services and the systems and so on. And so, of course, like even in Sweden, in the election system, we don't really have a very electronic election system. It's a manual, we have these voting papers and so on. Now, I used to be responsible for information security at the Swedish Election Authority for 2 public elections previous years.
Cool.
And so so what not many people know is that we do have a computer. Actually, we do have an election computer system, and it's just now being renewed and redeveloped. But that system, it's used to count all the votes. So if you think about it, like if we did not have cybersecurity for that system, even the heart of democracy, being able to count the votes, would be just big chaos, right?
That's true.
So everything in society, freedom of speech, democracy, and so on, is dependent on good cybersecurity. And even cybersecurity can also provide sometimes, when needed, anonymity. If you live in an oppressive society, when you don't have freedom of speech, then you can use virtual private networks and encryption technologies to tunnel your traffic out of that country and to communicate freely on that outside, like many people do today.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it is something that can help freedom of speech. Yeah.
Yeah, if anonymity is becoming a very trendy, topic for many. There is a lot of services like you have this app Wicker for usually from the start. I think it was used for journalists, like to communicate so people can't.
It's like a chat.
Yeah, it's like a chat, but you basically burn your message after a couple of seconds. But what happened was the people that buy and sell drugs, they noticed that this could be great.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of services that are good for us, but they're used in a bad way.
Yeah.
Right.
There are always 2 sides.
It's always a suicide, and
Yeah.
I think as soon as the criminal organization get their hands on something, that shit starts flying.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's always been like that. You can take a car and you can run into a bunch of people, or you can drive to your mother and have dinner. You can take a telephone and make a drug deal.
True.
You can make a phone call and say, kill that guy, or you can just have a lovely conversation with someone you love. So it's like basically all these tools that are available for honest people are also available for dishonest people. And we have to live with that. We can't forbid anonymity for everyone only because some people hide behind it.
But it's getting so much harder for you guys then. Not only that you have to fight attacks, but you don't know who you're fighting.
We have techniques to find out.
Of course you do.
Smart methods to find out the identities behind anonymous online handles and so on. I mean, there are many ways to find out.
Do you punish them then, or like do you just?
It depends on what kind of assignment we're a part of. I mean, people do get punished sometimes if they write viruses or if they hack into systems. Yeah.
So then you contact, for example, let's say that an attack comes from China. I don't know why I took China, but let's say China. You find out that there is a certain amount of people that does this. Do you contact the authorities in China and work with them to take them down?
it depends on what kind of assignment we do have. It's being, if there is an attack, and if a client wants to file a police complaint, then of course we do that. But there is always the problem with attribution in cyber attacks, that many people, they assume that it is Chinese because for some strange reason people are afraid of Chinese and Russians here in Sweden, right? And I'm not so convinced. If another country wanted to create a cyber attack that looked coming from China, they will do all that stuff. They would only compile the code on exactly the working hours of Chinese government agencies. They would have some Chinese characters in the executables, files, and there are many ways of making something look to come from China, but sometimes
So
it may
who is
be
the
a
bad
deception.
guy? Who's the bad guy in the world right
The
now?
bad guy, according to, it depends on whose team you're on.
Right.
I guess
With the
Sweden
white
is.
hat.
I guess Sweden is a bad guy, for some countries maybe, but of course we do have those countries that that we consider our friends in this, and we have countries who are very active trying to recruit spies and so on here for them, who are very active in trying to map out what we do here in Sweden. And there are basically 3 countries that come to my mind, but I'm not going to tell you which one they are.
Yeah, for your own security.
Yeah, but let me tell you this:
Right.
the guys who have my job on their side, they think that they are the good guys. So
Of course.
it's all a matter of
Yeah,
perspective.
It is. It is. You do it for your country, right?
Yeah, that's one part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the work that we do it because we believe in a good and free, open society, and we believe in the society that we live in.
But what would you say is the big change that's coming in the past maybe 1 or 2 years in cybersecurity, data protection? What is the big change? Is it some new regulations?
I think it's the cyber defense component, basically, because one of the consultants that work here, she is now one of the PhD students who are developing the courses for the new cyber soldiers in Sweden. So they're going to make an intake of cyber soldiers to train them to offensive cyber warfare and so on. So I think that's the big thing that is happening now, that people will start to look at the defense budget and say, look, we have to pay 1 billion crowns for one submarine. Let's spend some of that on cybersecurity and so on. And I think we're going to see a big move in that area all over the world. So cyber defense, if you want to be in a good industry in terms of business opportunities, I think that's the place.
And do you guys get a bonus if you guys if you do an extra good job for protecting?
If my boss is listening to this, show me the money. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
No, of course. I mean, we get well paid. Yeah,
Right.
We do. Yeah, because we're good and we provide a good value, so we get paid back a part of that value that we provide. A small part.
Small part. Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, and there is, there's a lot of IoT going on in the world, and also with, autonomous cars, all of this mobility. How do we protect IoT from attacks?
It is difficult because the automobile industry, they come from a no 100% safety but no cybersecurity corner, and so they have all the networks. They have been traditionally kind of unprotected. When you put your foot on the brake in a car today, it will send a UDP packet. It will send basically an internet traffic in your car and that will signal to this braking system to start braking. So, and that hopefully has a sort of a higher priority than some other things that is going on in your network, right? So it's a complex, of course. I mean, there are many ways to hack autonomous cars. You can paint a white line on the street and catch all the autonomous cars in one place if you wanted to, right? I mean,
that's crazy.
So you can. So there are many ways to hack cars.
But we're so busy with with this environmental aspect that we have to produce cars, lower the cost of buying an electric car. When is this ultimate protection going to come in? Is for example Tesla working on it, or? So
they should be working on it because some people have hacked their systems.
Okay.
We produce and we deliver to the major automotive companies a system called BlueGo, which is basically an entertainment. You can say it's like a Bluetooth component of this entertainment system. So we are sort of in the market there, and we try to help even big construction equipment makers with security in their systems. So basically, like all of these automakers and all of the makers of big industrial equipments like trucks and so on, they need artificial intelligence, they need cybersecurity,
Definitely.
they need everything of that going into their products right now. And like
True.
they are really willing to spend money on that. And so that's a lot of things will happen there. But yeah,
You guys have a huge market. I'm just thinking about all the areas you can use. Sorry, you can use your services in, man.
yeah.
You're like set for life. Not only being professor, but you're working at such a great,
It's
industry.
a great area, yeah. And every day since I started, all these years, I think every single day, someone I have met have told me, "Oh, that's where it happens." That's a great
Yeah,
area.
that's where
and
the
it's
magic
been more and
happens.
more true every day since then, right?
Wow.
Because now everything is moving quickly in this area. Yeah.
Are you ever gonna retire? I feel like this is
Never.
a profession you will just work and work until
I
you
love
die.
it. I love it.
Like you die making your last protection of the service or
Exactly.
something.
Yeah. No, it's not. I don't feel it as a job like that. I mean, it is a job and it's a duty in a way, but it's something that is fun. So I don't really reflect on it as something that is boring or anything. But,
Yeah.
but
Cool, man. It has been absolutely amazing to have you on the show.
thank you for having me. I mean, it's been a pleasure. Yeah.
Well, thank you for not attacking my computer. I'm connected to your Wi-Fi.
Have you checked the other computer? Because I actually just planted something there.
No, but as a summary for listeners, let's give them, takeaway from this episode. How would they think about their protection as a summary?
Think about your privacy. Go into these online services, social media and so on, and search for privacy settings and make sure that you set those to what you want. That's the first thing. Think about, and if you're interested in cybersecurity, find out about this business because it's a nice place to be and it's an exciting kind of line of work.
Sure.
So welcome to this industry.
Right. Cool. All right, you guys been listening to Sunday Stories with me, your host Fahrim Shirinzade, and today I had an awesome professor in cyber security, Fredrik Blix.
Thank you.
Thank you.